Hey guys, it's McKenna with Perfectly Planned Moments. You might be wondering, McKenna, you're a wedding planner. What are you doing sewing a wedding dress? Let me explain. What happened was, a couple of months back, I decided I wanted to plan and coordinate what's called a styled event, which is where a bunch of vendors get together and they create a styled photo shoot in order to get photos to advertise their talents. So it's like a big collaboration of sorts where you can network and all work together. It was really fun. I did an event at Point Reyes, and I'm sure if you follow me, you've seen pictures that I've put up. Thank you so much. What not a lot of people know is the process of finding that dress was very complicated. I had to make my own dress, not from scratch. It had been used, but I had to severely alter it in order to get the style I wanted and to fit my model. So the first model was the one I actually bought the dress for. I thought I would only have to make some very minor adjustments. She had a very nice hourglass figure and she ended up not working out, and so at the end I was stuck with a dress that would fit her hourglass figure that wouldn't fit pretty much anyone else that I knew who wanted to model for me. And so I ended up getting another model who was more my body type, and I had to alter the dress because it was much too big and many different areas for her. So I basically decided I'm gonna forget the design of this dress as it is and I'm going to redesign it and see what happens. And so this video was me videotaping the process of creating and sewing and finally having that dress. It's very long. I had to slog through a bunch of footage, but I hope that you enjoy it if you're into that kind of thing, and I hope that this explains why I'm sewing a wedding dress, because it's not like I'm in the business of wedding dresses. It's just a skill that I have that I decided I would have to pull out of my toolbox and get the job done because I couldn't find a dress anywhere else that I really liked. So this is what I came up with. So I hope that you enjoy, and I'm sorry it's so long. If you have any questions, comment in the comments below, and be sure to like and subscribe if you're interested in learning more about weddings, and if you're interested in following me in my business. So here I am. I've cut out the pattern for the front, and as you can see, it's supposed to be asymmetrical. These are the two front pieces. So this is the piece that's going over the bust, and then this is the one that goes under, and I pinned them, and they're actually rounded underneath, and you'll see that when I cut the dress. And then this is the back. It's also asymmetrical, just barely, because I'm going to try it on my model, and once I see how it fits her, then I'll decide where I want to cut it. So here's the dress turned inside out. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm going to seam rip the lining here to take out the top, and I'm going to not use the skirt right now because I'm gonna deal with that later. I just want to get the top finished. And the really nice thing about this design of a dress is I can do a lot with the top and not have to worry about how heavy the skirt is, because of course it'll be in 2 pieces. So I'm just going to make a snip. I have cut into the dress over the seam for the boning. Boning, here I'll show you a piece of boning. Boning is a piece of thick plastic that is malleable, and you can sew through it with a machine or by hand if you press hard enough, but it's also plastic, and so it acts kind of like a corset would, where it just keeps the shape of the dress a lot easier than just fabric would. So I'm just cutting into the lining of the dress right now. So it's like extra fabric for me because I don't necessarily need to use it since it's not going to show. So as you can see, all of the lining has been cut except for this little part on the back that's connected all the way down, because when a skirt is made, it's a long piece generally that's gathered, and then in the back it's sewn shut, and so that part is still holding on to the rest of the dress. And then continue our trimming. Okay. Through the seam. Okay. Almost there. Haha. Okay. Skirt and the lining together are here. And I'm just gonna fold it up. Deal with it later. Now comes the hard part, because I have to salvage as much of this dress as possible. So that involves this guy. He is a seam ripper. He's going to make sure that I don't cut off any unnecessary part of the fabric. So what I think I'm gonna do, because the lining is a really big project to sew, is not take apart the whole thing and instead just cut what I want, and then do some funky stuff once I have everything being put together to make it so that it's lined again. My pattern piece is basically this, but it's gonna be this way. Like this. If you look closely, you can see that I have just enough in this dress to make it. And the really cool thing about using these things is you can pull it to the size that you exactly need. And so I'm being really loose and casual about how I'm making this pattern, because I know once I do the fitting, I'm going to be able to make some adjustments there, so the measurements don't have to be like to the centimeter like it would be otherwise. And because I have this thing, even if I am even an inch or so off, I can always pull it to closed and it'll be fine. You see right here, there's a seam holding these 2 pieces of fabric together. I'm just going to cut it like this. So right now, I'm pinning my pattern to the fabric so I know that when I'm cutting in the right place and everything is symmetrical. What I'm going to do is cut upwards a little bit of the pattern, because under here I have the ribbons lacing up the back, and they end at a certain place, and I want the seam on the sides of them to be even, but in order to do that I'm actually going to need to cut upwards so that when I flip the seam in to hem it, it's even. So I'll just have to keep that in mind. I don't really want to make a whole new pattern for this, for something that I can just eye. I tend to eye a lot of things.